The injury to Brock Purdy had massive implications for the 49ers, but looking forward into the future, this injury could have impacts across the league. How does this change the quarterback market? Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, we are talking a little Brock Purdy injury news here. Happened yesterday during the NFC Championship game against the Eagles, and he got knocked out of the game, a little bit of an elbow injury, and they wound up losing the game in bad fashion to, obviously not make the Super Bowl. They played 4 quarterbacks throughout the year, and basically he could not throw the ball when they had to put him back in after Johnson got the concussion. So I want to talk about this and how this impacts the entire quarterback market this offseason. Now, first and foremost, this is the up-to-date news that I saw on Purdy before making this video. Following initial tests, the 49ers believe Purdy suffered a UCL injury, though they are uncertain about the severity of it, ESPN reported. The Niners are hoping the UCL, which is a common baseball injury associated with Tommy John surgery needed to repair it, isn't ruptured. If that's the case, Purdy just needs 6 weeks to recover, and he should be able to proceed with his offseason training leading to training camp. So they're hoping that it's not a rupture, because if it is, that's Tommy John surgery, and you're talking like a year out of commission for Brock Purdy. If you're sitting if you don't have a year, if you have a year off with Brock Purdy, and you would have assumed Purdy was probably going to be the starter going into next year, or at least him competing with Trey Lance. Now you don't have him for next year. Jimmy Garoppolo cannot get franchise tagged unless he's re-signing in San Francisco, which, I guess maybe could happen, but I don't think that's probably likely at all. And then, what happens with Trey Lance? Like, are you just rolling with Trey Lance next year and you're just going to say, oh, screw it, let's go. We have a Super Bowl caliber roster, but we're just going to let it ride on a guy we haven't really tested. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. So how does this impact the quarterback market? Well, these are the quarterbacks that are kind of like the big fish. I know you can toss in like Lamar Jackson. That's probably a little far-fetched. But these are the 4 quarterbacks that are really going to dictate the quarterback landscape in the NFL. Then you have some lesser guys, maybe like a Tannehill, a Minshew, things of those natures. But I would suggest, or I wouldn't say suggest, I would say these are the 4 quarterbacks that I'm looking at as far as like you're trying to contend for a Super Bowl or playoff contention or something along those lines. And now I don't consider the Jets in on Tom Brady, but with Brock Purdy getting knocked out and Tom Brady being a free agent, you're talking about a team in San Francisco that doesn't have a crazy ton of draft picks because they traded them all away for Christian McCaffrey and Trey Lance, a free agent quarterback, maybe just what the doctor ordered, and Tom Brady being a San Francisco 49er fan growing up, I think could squarely land him in San Francisco for one season in a Super Bowl run. Because what does it matter? It's basically what the Jets are trying to do with Aaron Rodgers. Let Zach Wilson sit for 2 years, see what you have in Zach Wilson. Tom Brady comes in for a year. I don't even think you even need him for 2, but what's the worst case scenario? You have Trey Lance and you have Brock Purdy sitting on the bench, riding the pine, learning behind the GOAT while you put yourself in Super Bowl contention. I think there's a really good shot if Purdy's knocked out, Tom Brady's going to San Francisco. Then we try to figure it out. Okay, what could possibly happen from there? Well, I think there's a very real possibility that the Packers wind up keeping Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers says, hey, I got some guys here. I know this system. I don't want to uproot my entire life. Yeah, I could go to New York. That's a lot of pressure. I'm going to get my $109 million anyway. Why don't I just stay here? I'm kind of the golden boy, unless they're totally going to tell me they are, in fact, moving on with Jordan Love. Maybe I stay one more year. Aaron Rodgers has played every game the last 5 seasons, so you could exercise Trey Lance's 5th-year option and not necessarily have to worry about, having to pay him after that year. You can have him stay a year, go to Trey Lance. Oh, I'm saying Trey Lance. Go to Jordan Love the following year. You could do that. Aaron Rodgers could go for one more Super Bowl in Green Bay. And I think you could also say, maybe he goes to another team. He doesn't necessarily just have to go to the Jets, which is, a big concern. Maybe Carolina trades for Derek Carr. I've been saying Derek Carr is going to get cut, but maybe there's a situation where Vegas wants to send him to the NFC and Carolina is just willing to pay more because they got the 9th pick. They're not going to be able to draft a quarterback. Potentially, they might get the 4th guy down the line, and he might be someone that has to sit anyway. So if you have Derek Carr, you're going to an NFC South division that is just the easiest division of all divisions right now. Tom Brady's not in there. Atlanta doesn't have a quarterback. New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback. You're sitting kind of nice if you're Derek Carr in that situation. And now with Tom Brady not going to the Raiders, maybe there's a situation where Jimmy Garoppolo ends up with his former coach and Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. What do the Jets do? What do you do if this ends up happening? Or if what if Rodgers goes to the Colts or something like that? Like this is not an unreasonable set of circumstances. Before the Purdy injury, I would have said there is nearly 100% chance that Tom Brady is going to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. With him potentially getting Tommy John surgery and being out an entire year, I could definitely see him in San Francisco. It wouldn't shock me if you saw Aaron Rodgers then go to the Raiders. I don't think he wants to learn a new offense, but maybe he wants to team up with Devontae Adams. Maybe he wants to win a Super Bowl in Vegas when Vegas hosts a Super Bowl. Maybe that's something that he finds appealing. They're sending him to an opposite conference. I'm watching this whole situation sort of play out in front of me, and I'm getting this sinking feeling in my stomach that we are headed towards Zach Wilson, Mike White, Ryan Tannehill in the 2023 season, and we're just plumb ripe for a reset after this year, and that has me all sorts of concerned. So, guys, let me know what you think of this sort of situation down below. Do you think I'm going crazy? Do you think the Purdy injury could lead to this chain reaction of events, or are the Jets going to get a quarterback and I don't even have to worry about this? What would your options be if this doomsday scenario happened? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.